Prologue, The Crash. The night sky tore open as a draught vessel streaked down and erupted in fire. John Walker, human war medic, rushed toward the wreckage despite the artillery thunder around him. Inside the twisted hull, he found her. Emerald skin, violet eyes flickering faintly beneath soot and blood. Armor not like any soldier's, star silk cloak shredded but still glowing faintly, runes alive across her breastplate, silver-lined sash half-burned yet unmistakably noble. She was no common fighter, but John had no name for her. He dropped to his knees, pulling out his kit. His hands worked fast, tourniquets, field spray, sealant patches. As explosions echoed, he covered her body with his own, shielding her from shrapnel. When he lifted her again, he felt her breath faint but steady. He didn't know who she was. Didn't even know her name. All he knew was that he would not let her die. Chapter 1 The Name. 2 days later, in a hidden medical shelter dug into the cliffs, her eyes opened. Violet, like twin novas. Her lips moved, voice weak but steady. Valora. That was the first thing she gave him. A name, nothing more. John repeated it under his breath, the sound foreign on his tongue, heavy with meaning he couldn't place. He didn't know he was speaking the name of a princess. He only thought she was a survivor, a strange warrior in strange armor, one life worth saving among countless he had already lost. Chapter 2 The Challenge of Blood and Fire. The days passed in uneasy quiet. John's shelter, little more than stone walls reinforced with scavenged plating, was hidden in the canyons where scanners rarely reached. Valora's wounds closed faster than he expected, as if her body itself carried some secret healing fire. Still, she never said more than needed. Her name, Valora, was all he truly had. John noticed how she studied him in silence when she thought he wasn't watching. Her eyes lingered not just on his hands when he treated her, but on the scars across his arms, the steady way he carried himself. She would ask odd questions. Why do you protect the wounded first? Or, why cover me with your body when your soldiers needed you? He answered only with blunt honesty. Because saving one life, he told her once, is worth all the bullets I can carry. She looked at him for a long time after that, as if weighing something deeper than his words. The Dragnow's hum had barely faded when the shadows above the canyon deepened. Figures moved with uncanny precision, tall, lithe, armored in hues that mirrored Valora's shimmering attire. Her personal guards had arrived. They did not speak, yet their presence alone demanded respect and caution. John's mind raced. He had expected a duel, not a welcoming committee. But as the guards approached, their formation and discipline spoke of something far beyond mercenary skill. They were royal protectors, elite warriors sworn to her alone. Valora stepped forward, her voice calm yet commanding. John, you need to understand. You cannot remain here. My world, it is not safe for you.
Then I come, John replied, voice flat, steel under his words. You won't face this alone. The guards hesitated, glances flicking between Valora and John. She nodded once, sharply, and they allowed him to fall in beside them. That was when John began to see the full truth. The canyon opened into a vast skyway. Above them, ships carved trails of luminescent energy across the violet clouds. Below, the terrain shimmered like polished stone, dotted with structures that pulsed with life and light. John's eyes, trained in the shadows of war, caught every detail: the patrol drones, the defensive pylons, the unmistakable insignia of a ruling dynasty. Your world, he said slowly. Your royalty? Valora's eyes, usually guarded, were momentarily vulnerable. Princess Valora, firstborn of House Elvanes, heir to the throne of Saranthia Prime. John's mind processed this coldly. Royalty meant politics. It meant enemies. It meant the chains she had sought to escape. He remembered the stories whispered among miners and colonists. The princess who fled, the betrothal arranged not for love, but for alliance and power. And him? John asked, eyes narrowing as they flew closer to the capital city. Her jaw tightened. My betrothed, Lord Kalen, the son of the ruling council of Dracor. A man of honor in his own code, but I could not accept his hand. I refused, and so I ran. John didn't flinch. In his experience, love and politics were weak excuses for survival. But betrayal, manipulation, and the coldness of power, those he understood. He had seen entire populations crushed under the weight of one man's ambition. He had been that man. They landed within the city, and John felt the weight of history, of legacy, pressing down on him. Yet beneath it all, his eyes scanned for vulnerabilities, weaknesses, ways to exploit the power structures that had driven her into the shadows. Valora led him into the palace. The architecture was breathtaking, spires of crystal and living metal that sang with energy. Walls that seemed to breathe with light, but John's mind lingered on the soldiers and courtiers whose eyes measured him as a potential threat. "Why did you run?" he asked again, stepping close to her. "Because I will not be a pawn in their games," she whispered. "Because I've seen what unchecked ambition does to those who have no choice."
John's expression darkened. He understood more than she could know. He remembered the colonies he had raised, the mining compounds emptied in flames, the rebellion crushed without mercy. He was ruthless, cold-blooded, the kind of man who left entire cities in ash and memory. Every decision calculated, every action leaving nothing but obedience or death. And yet, standing beside her, he felt a strange curiosity, the challenge of a world so different, yet fragile under the weight of its own politics. That night, in the quiet of the palace, Valora's personal guards brought forth the formalities of the court. Lord Kalen arrived, as imposing and confident as the tales had described. His dreadnought, similar to the one John had first seen, glimmered at his side, humming with authority and energy. "You are far from your home, Princess," Kalen said, eyes narrowing as they fell on John. "And yet, here you stand with an outsider. Is this your choice, or rebellion?" Valora's hand brushed against John's arm. "He fights by my side," she said softly. "I chose him in this moment of truth." Kalen's gaze hardened. "Then he will face the rights of our people. If he fails, you return with me." John did not respond with words. He simply stepped forward, every fiber of his being coiled for the challenge. He had survived worse, entire colonies, entire planets. He had destroyed those who stood in his path with methodical precision. The thought of this duel, of the Dragno's power, barely stirred him. And when the challenge began, it would not just be a test of skill. It would be a reckoning. For John, fire and blood were not just metaphors. They were the currency of survival. And he intended to spend it without hesitation. Chapter 5: The Skyborn Siege. The vessel carrying John and Valora streaked through the stormed atmosphere of Saranthia Prime. Below them, Kalen's fleet poured into the city like a swarm of metallic hornets, energy trails slicing across the violet skies. Ships collided with palace defenses, shields flaring and shattering. John gripped the controls, feeling the subtle pull of gravity and wind against the craft, like a warrior mounted on a dragon. Valora clutched his arm, golden hair whipping around her face, eyes wide but unafraid. "This is just the beginning," John said, voice low, scanning the skies. "We have to move fast. They'll expect us to flee, use that against them." Phase 1. Chase and Evasion. Kalen's dreadnought glowed, a beacon of lethal energy slicing the air. From the fleet below, pursuit fighters surged upward, weaving through the wreckage of the city. John banked sharply, dodging a volley of plasma blasts. His ship's small size and nimble design allowed tight maneuvers, barrel rolls, and near-impossible dives between collapsing skyscrapers and energy pylons. Kalen laughed, a cold, triumphant sound. "You cannot outrun me forever, outsider," he shouted, the dreadnought forming a streaking blade of light as he piloted his personal ship with deadly precision. John's mind raced, recalling every tactical simulation he had ever run. He dove toward a canyon, banking sharply to throw off Kalen's aim. Enemy fighters followed, crashing into cliffs and one another.
Valora's hands gripped him tightly. "John, that's too close. Trust me," he said. And she did, because she had no choice but to. Phase 2. Vertical Combat and Maneuver. The chase escalated into vertical combat. Ships spiraled around each other, dodging beams and missiles. John used sudden bursts of thrust to loop over Kalen's ship, diving straight down and firing precision disruptors to disable enemy engines. Kalen retaliated, spinning his ship in a lethal arc. The dreadnought extended, slicing through the air like a comet, narrowly missing John's vessel. Sparks trailed across the hull, and alarms blared. John adapted. He dove through collapsing towers and energy pylons, using the environment like Hiccup uses storm clouds and mountains. Kalen followed blindly, overconfident, and a burst of falling debris clipped the tip of his winged craft. "Not bad," Kalen hissed. "But this ends now." Phase 3. Teamwork and Diversion. John realized he couldn't take Kalen head-on yet, he had to manipulate the battlefield. He made a sharp turn, flying toward the ruins of a palace spire. Energy cannons locked onto him, but he fired a precision pulse that triggered a chain reaction, exploding a nearby fuel conduit, creating a smokescreen of fire and energy. From within the chaos, Valora's personal guards, piloting their own ships, launched a surprise strike on Kalen's remaining units. Energy beams and missiles flew in coordinated bursts. Jon led Kalen on a high-speed chase through a twisting canyon, drawing him away from the palace. Kalen roared in frustration. "You think a simple diversion can save her?" Jon smirked grimly. "Not save her. Protect her. Big difference." Phase 4, the climax, duel above the ruins. The final confrontation mirrored the epic duels from Hiccup's dragon races. Ships weaving through jagged rock spires, twisting around collapsing towers, scraping dangerously close to molten energy conduits. Jon performed near impossible maneuvers, loops, rolls, and dives that threw Kalen off balance. The dreadnought glowed furiously, trying to cut through Jon's ship, but Jon's instincts were razor sharp. He fired disruptor pulses at precise intervals, causing Kalen's shields to falter. Valora, from her vantage, shouted tactical adjustments, guiding Jon like a co-pilot. Her voice was calm, commanding, and in perfect rhythm with his instincts. Together, they became a single unit, moving in sync like dragon and rider in perfect harmony. Finally, Jon dove straight toward the spire ruins, drawing Kalen beneath him. At the last second, he performed a sudden vertical ascent, forcing Kalen to overshoot. The dreadnought misfired, striking the canyon walls instead of Jon's ship. Sparks and debris rained down. Kalen's ship spiraled out of control, crashing into the canyon below. The enemy fighters faltered without their leader, retreating in disarray. Jon's heart pounded, adrenaline mixing with grim satisfaction.
Phase 5, Safety and Connection. The vessel stabilized. Jon set it down in a hidden plateau far from the city, the only sounds their heavy breaths and distant battle echoes. Valora exhaled slowly, eyes wide, trembling slightly, not from fear, but relief. You saved me," she whispered. Jon let her slide from his arms and stand beside him. "We're not done," he said. "But you're safe. For now." She looked at him, her usual guarded demeanor softening. "I never thought someone, like you, could care so much about another life." "I don't care about anyone's life," he admitted, voice low, "except yours. And I don't intend to fail." For the first time, Valora stepped closer, placing her hand on his chest. "Then we'll face whatever comes together." Jon's eyes softened, not completely, but enough for the storm to recede slightly from his expression. Amid the chaos of betrayal, war, and survival, a fragile trust had been forged. A bond between warrior and princess that neither fully understood yet, but both felt deeply.